Morning, everybody. Cannot believe it's week 3 already. It's crazy. Seems like we were in camp yesterday, and man, the already in the end of the first quarter of our season here. So, but excited about getting back at it this week. Every week is really a season of its own. It really is, and that's how we look at it. And this week is no different. A lot of opportunity ahead, but it's all about where we are and just trying to continue to build our team and to grow our team and to get better. Got another opportunity, to go play this week. We're excited about it. It's the biggest game of the year. That's our mentality, and again, just to keep improving. And it starts in practice. So today is a critical day for us. Tuesday, Wednesdays are tough and fast, physical practices, and as I said last week. Man, I just was really pleased with how they came to work all week, and especially coming off a tough opener. And we need that same type of preparation, because if we can get that week in and week out, I think our team has got a chance to really improve a bunch. So again, that's where it starts is in practice. Excited about ACC play kicking off. We got 7 straight conference games, and the next goal for us is very simple. It's win the division. So that starts this week. That's what's in front of us, and we know that we got a lot of improving to do to be the type of team we want to be overall and in this league. Our next challenge is Georgia Tech, and they are a much improved team in all areas. They had a kind of a crazy opener with Northern Illinois, who's a good team, a good program, and I think that's the danger of openers when you don't know a lot about the teams. And they came out there and I think they caught them off guard from a schematic standpoint with some of their unbalanced sets and things that really hurt them. It was a hard-fought type. They went for 2 to win it. And it was a heartbreaker for them, but they bounced back. I think that's a sign of their maturity as well, and their culture growing. They bounced back this past week and played really, really well. So I think they're a much, much improved team. You can see that belief growing in what they do. They're committed and believe in their philosophy and what they do. I think that's important. It's going to start with their offense. I think that they've got offensively 7 guys back that have started 5+ games for them, so they're more experienced. Got 3 starters back up front, including a 4th guy coming in from Vanderbilt at left tackle. So experienced group up front. The back is special. He is a special player. He can do it all. He's going to touch it every which way they can get it to him. He'll have 20+ touches when the game is over. There's no doubt about that. He's a dynamic player. Their receivers are physical. You can tell they take a lot of pride in being physical. They got behind us a couple times last year and made some big plays. Quarterback-wise, they obviously got 2 guys, and I don't know if Sims is back or not, but expect both of them to play, and they're dynamic guys. They both can run the offense, but I thought Yates did a heck of a job last week. Very consistent. He's a very savvy guy. Really understands what they're doing, and Sims is they're both good runners. Sims is probably the more dangerous of the 2 when it comes to running the football, but they'll get them on the edge. They'll sprint, and you got all the throwbacks and a lot of screen game, a lot of different formations to adjust to, and again, just trying to get you in space. So good challenge for our defense with this bunch for sure. And then defensively, they got 10 guys that have started 5+ games back. So just the whole team is so much more experienced, and as a result of that, confidence, maturity, leadership. A lot of the same things y'all hear me say about our guys, especially on the defensive side of the ball. That's what you see with them. The strength is their secondary. Everybody's back. They've played a lot of football. They got a good transfer in there at middle backer, who's a very good player. They're not huge up front, but they play big. They play tough. They play with great effort. Same thing schematically. They give you a lot of different things from a coverage standpoint. One safety, two safety, double cloud. You get a little bit of everything. So just an improved team, and we're excited about the challenge, and we're excited about being back here in the Valley. It's a sellout. And I know it's going to be a great week. These are special days for me, special days for our team, to have an opportunity to play. Again, you got 12 days that you get, and, you spend all year preparing for these days. And then you get, this year, we get 6 days here at home, ride by that stadium year round. And to see it come to life is a special, day. So got another one of those opportunities, got 5 more. Lord willing, and we're excited about having a great crowd and a great environment, 3:30 game, and hopefully continuing to improve our team. Injury-wise, biggest thing to report to you guys is Dietrich Pennington's going to be out. He tore his ACL, so really, just big disappointment there. Going to be a great player. And I think a guy that, as the season went on, would have been a difference maker for us for sure. He's a lot like Marcus Tate as far as where he is. He just but he came in late, and but his grasp of things, his physicality, his athleticism. I mean, he's just this is probably the biggest group we've signed as a group in the OL. But really disappointed and hate that for him, but. Good news for him is he was able to get to camp. He was able to get a good experience and learn from it. And he obviously can redshirt, and he'll be back better than ever. So, but that's 3 big losses for us in the OL. John Williams was a guy that was really going to help us this year, and obviously he's been out with his knee now for since camp, and then we lost Taquan. Taquan was going to really help us. So that's three guys that we were really counting on being contributors for us. So disappointing with that, but keep moving forward and hopefully get those guys better sooner than later. All right, any questions?
When you look at Georgia Tech, and you mentioned their experience, but can you tell the difference in recruiting, that their recruiting's improved over the team that you played 2 years ago, or what's the biggest factor, the experience or the recruiting?
All the above. They are doing a good job of recruiting. They've gotten some key transfer guys in there that is, I think, brought them a little more experience in the short term, which has helped them, and maturity as well. But just I think belief in what they're doing, familiarity, and you can tell that they've bought into the philosophy that they have there. And I think the coaches deserve credit for that because they've stayed committed. It's really easy, especially when things aren't, maybe going the way you want them early on to abandon ship, if you will. But those guys have stayed the course and stayed committed to what they believe in. And you can see them, building. And again, this was a really challenging situation, because you weren't just changing coaches and changing a culture. You're changing an entire schematic deal that had been in place for a long time, and it just takes time. So you can definitely see the improvement, with what Coach Collins and his staff are doing. They play with great effort. I think that's a sign of belief. You don't see guys loafing around or anything like that. They play hard. They play tough. And then they're smart coaches. I mean, they do a good job schematically of positioning their guys to have a chance to be successful.
Well, this is your first game. You took over the head coach years ago. Talk about where you come from your first time you saw Georgia Tech to now.
It's been an unbelievable journey. I was the I don't know how many schools we have then. I guess, did we have 14 then? I don't even remember. I was 14th, I guess, and now I think I'm second by about 6 months or so, 8 months on with Coach Cutcliffe. So I've seen a lot of change, and this is my 13th year as full-time head coach. So I've seen a lot of change over the years, and thankful to still be here and leading this program.
Anything else for Coach Swinney?
Is it hard to get a read on who they're going to put at quarterback?
Yeah, it is. Because we don't know. I mean, obviously we've played against Sims, so we definitely have some video and things like that. But with him getting hurt, we don't really know where he's at. But so it's you have to prepare though. So we don't know if he's going to play or not. Y'all got any intel? Go ahead and let me know. I'll take it. But we don't know if he's going to play. And they're going to do what they do regardless. But there is a little different emphasis and a little different. They both. Yates he's a good football player, man. Like I said, he's a winner, state champion quarterback, savvy kid, man, tough, and again, very consistent. And but Sims is maybe a little bit better of a runner, a little more explosive in that part of the game, and he's a gunslinger too now. I mean, he can rip it. So you just have to prepare for what they do and adjust as we need to. But yeah, it's a little bit of a difference between the two. But I think at the end of the day, they're gonna get that ball to that running back. They're gonna formation you. They're gonna tempo you. They're gonna be 11 personnel, a little bit of 10 mixed in there. They're gonna run their quarterback regardless of who's in there, and they're gonna take some shots. And they're gonna have all the boots and sprints and wheels and throwbacks that complement that.
You mentioned what you saw of Yates against Kennesaw, but what about the previous week against Northern Illinois, where it seems like he really gave them kind of a spark when he had to replace?
Yeah, I mean, he came in. He's a good player. I mean, he's a very good player. Again, he's a winner, man. I mean, this kid is a savvy football player. Can throw the football, can run. He runs well. So I mean, I think they went into the season believing in both those guys. I don't think there's any doubt about that. So and you see that. You really see that more and more. With some of these teams with a couple quarterbacks that they really believe in, and maybe bring a little bit of different skill set.
Is there any particular difficulty in getting ready for a team that doesn't put out a depth chart?
Well, I mean, we got tape. It's real hard on an opener, that's for sure, as you don't really have much, you just don't know. But thankfully, we do have 2 games, so we've got a pretty good idea. And we know who was there last year and who's not. So, that's but again, with 2 games in, you pretty much have an identity of who they are and what their personnel is.
Coach, were you able to watch any of the NFL this past weekend? Some of your guys who have gotten their debuts and just seeing your former players out on the field at a different level?
I did not get to watch much yesterday, Sunday. I saw just bits and pieces, more highlights. Sundays are long days, and some days I get more opportunity than others, but I didn't get much time this past Sunday to see many games. I get the updates though. Clay usually fills me in on what happened that day. I know Nuke had a great day. T had a touchdown. I think Mike Williams had a big day. So I was kind of hoping that Sammy and Renfro would have a big Monday, and I did get to see, a little bit of that last night as we were finishing up here, and then I was trying to go to bed, and then I couldn't go to bed because both teams kept screwing it up, and it's like, who's going to win this game? Like, who's going to win the game? And so that was a wild one. But how much fun was that, man? And Sammy had a big game. And Renfro had a big game, big John Simpson in there, getting a start at guard, and Trayvon. So it's always fun to see those guys play. But Renfro's Renfro. He kind of does what he does, and Sammy had some monster plays as well. And it's always fun every time I get a chance to see Lamar Jackson play. I mean, he's one of my favorite players all time. Got mad respect for that guy. He's as difficult a player as I've ever had to prepare for. So always fun to watch him. It was a heck of a football game and kind of some crazy situational stuff that came up in the game. So I did get to see a good bit of that one last night, and that's about it. I'm proud of all those guys. You know, got a lot of guys doing a lot of good things. I didn't get to see any of Trevor's game. I know he did some good things and some bad things, but he'll get better, and that's about it. So, y'all got any more updates? Let me know.
No, but you still expect Nolan to be able to go on Saturday?
We do. Yep, excited about that.
Yeah, but how do you evaluate the progress you guys made running the ball on Saturday, albeit against an FCS level opponent? How do you balance those two things?
How do we do our job? You know, what was our fundamentals? Was our techniques better? Was our communication better? You know, yes in all those areas. You know, we still had a few miscues and that we need to correct. A couple MAs where, you know, we got the wrong call, weren't on the same page. But the biggest thing that I was looking for, I saw. You know, we had a lot of guys grade a winner, and, you know, just a lot of fundamental improvement, a lot of technical improvement. And, you know, we got back to the second level a lot without getting touched. And I know we're supposed to do that, but, you know, doing it is another thing. And so I thought they got better, and you know, in their execution and their techniques and their fundamentals up front. And I thought the backs did an awesome job. And it's not that the backs didn't do a good job in the first game. We didn't, you know, really hard to evaluate. We didn't give them much opportunity. But you know, I was proud of everybody involved in the run game.
Yeah, well, you've been telling us about Will Taylor basically from the first day he stepped on campus this summer. Where do you think you've seen the most growth in him from a guy that had athleticism to a guy now that looks like he could be ready to start helping out on Saturdays?
He's already helping out on Saturdays, but he's just, you know, learning what to do. You know, we've been really trying to teach him the foundation of the offense from a quarterback perspective. You know, because again, he can bring some things there, but just have that foundation. You know, as we grow him into another role. He's never played receiver. He's got a lot to learn about just pure playing receiver, but his skill set is really special for it. So he just got a better understanding of the big picture of what's going on. That's where he's grown the most. I mean, he's just been here since the summer, so you know, he's just a baller. He's just one of those kids that gets it, and the moment's never too big for him, and gonna be a good player.
Tony was telling us his nickname is Maverick. Why don't you get your thoughts on that? That's a pretty accurate
yeah, I think Tony nicknamed him Maverick. That's the old, you know, Tom Cruise Top Gun. So I think Ross said he put together some kind of video or spoof or something with that. Probably get a copyright infringement email or something. But yeah, he's just a cool dude. You know, he's just confident. He's unique. And that's what Tony came up with. So pretty good little nickname for him.
Has he made a case for expanding his role on offense?
Yeah, we'll continue to you know, get him touches in different ways as we go through the season. I mean, I threw him in there in the Georgia game. You know, kid's never even played football at this level, and so obviously it says a lot. I wish he'd have pulled it though. If he'd have pulled it, it'd have been a big play. His technique wasn't good. He didn't. We had no ride. You know, we had no click, and so he, you know, it was just. But first snap, he pulls that ball, he's running, and so he just brings a little different. You got to prepare for it, and there's some things that we can use him with, and you know, definitely as we go through the season, we'll continue to involve him. You know, not overwhelm him, but involve him and capture you know, his abilities. But eventually, you know, he's going to be one of those guys that we really can school him up. I think he's going to be a very dynamic player in a lot of different ways, and obviously continue to help us in the return game.
I would imagine you're not ready to give a nickname to Pace or Shipley yet, but how valuable is it to have two guys that kind of have those different styles that you can run in and out, and then even Linjay offers something a little different too?
Yeah, I think we got it at running back. Well, we got it DN. I think we got a bunch of guys that are good enough to start for us, and you know, who runs out there first, you know, be different from week to week. But I think those guys are. We got three guys that can start for us. We thought that for sure in camp. And, man, Kobe, the improvement he's made has been awesome. He had an unbelievable spring, a great summer. He's explosive. He's physical. He's an incredibly disciplined, committed, person and player. And then same thing with Shipley. Shipley is a Swiss Army knife. He is powerful as they come. He runs. He's relentless for every single yard. He breaks tackles. He runs through the trash. And, all those guys can catch the ball. Obviously, Linjay has got great experience. He's had big plays. They all three, have the ability to help us. And that's why everybody asks. I don't really ever see a situation where those guys aren't going to play. Just like I don't see any situation. We got 5 DNs. I don't see any situation where those guys don't play. Is Justin Foster a 5th-team guy? I don't think so. We just got good players, and those guys all have the opportunity to play, and the focus is for them to play well when they play. So I think we're really fortunate at running back because we got and I think y'all going to see that as we go through the season. I mean, these are really good players. And, as I said the other day with Dukes is really talented. His thing is just consistently being able to trust him, with really executing, within the system and taking care of the ball and all those things. But he's still a young player too. And then Rencher brings everything to the table every single time. You know exactly what you're getting with him. You can trust him. You depend on him. And that's why we held Moffa. Wait till you see Moffa. Wait till you see him. He's as good as anybody we have, truly. But it's, we're just trying to hopefully be able to create a little separation there. But we'll see how it goes throughout the season. That's just where we are today. But I'm excited about our backs and what we have there.
With somebody like Moffa, do you guys have like a grid? Okay, this is a week we want to play in, this is a week, or do you take it sort of week by week?
Week by week. Yeah, it's kind of hard to have a grid and say, okay, this week injuries determine those things. Any issues with players, injuries, guys playing to the standard that we talk about. All those things could dictate change. The production that we're getting, the types of games, how do the games go? I mean, we don't know. I just know in that moment Saturday, it wasn't a game that we wanted to play him in. And again, that's a week to week type of thing. But we keep him up. We're keeping him up. He's not with the scout. I mean, he's ready to play every week, and so if we need him, he'll be ready to roll. And at some point, he definitely will play, because I'd like to hold him if I can, but I don't know that we'll be able to do that. But for sure, we get 4 games. So, it may be a barn burner, 27 to 24 game, and he's played in that game. I don't know. It'd be truly a week-to-week deal.
After the Georgia game, you said Rook showed that he really belonged. Obviously, he had to work through a lot of injuries and things like that. I mean, how much patience and perseverance did you see from him in terms of just building up to the point he's at now, considering everything he went through?
Yeah, a lot. And, when we signed him, we knew he was I hate to use the word project, but that's what he was. He played 2 years of football. He was a soccer player, a basketball kid, and with 2 years of football under his belt, and a guy that was just kind of blossoming. Like, whoa, this guy's got he just had this great skill set, but he had so much to learn. So, he redshirts, just nowhere near ready, and doesn't know how to play. And then last year's a redshirt freshman, he gets hurt, and but he just kept grinding, kept working, and you can just see it as he was really. The best part is while he was not playing, he was learning and still developing. He wasn't wasting time. He wasn't just on the shelf collecting dust. He was mentally preparing himself. He was learning through other people's experience. He was paying attention. And, I saw it this spring. I was like, this guy's got a chance to be a really good player. and he carried it right through the summer, right into fall camp, and then, man, he got a huge opportunity against Georgia and did great. And he was our player of the game. You know, he and Skowski were the MVPs of the defense, and you know, Shipley and Putnam were our MVPs on offense this past week, and Will Taylor was the special teams MVP. So that just goes to show you, you know, he's played 2 games and played really well against Georgia and was the player of the game this past week. So he's got a bright future. He's a redshirt sophomore. He's still learning, but love everything about what he brings to the table.
What specifically did Putnam show to earn that distinction?
He just played. He played great. I mean, he played, you know, the way he's normally plays. I mean, Putnam had a tremendous camp. He got better and better last year, but he had a great camp. Very, very consistent, very detailed. He's technically usually very good, and he's just he's a grinder, man. I mean, he's a to the whistle, through the whistle type guy, and I love that about him. Just has a great mentality. But he didn't play well in the Georgia game. He was disappointed for whatever reason. Just didn't play with good technique, and but man, he bounced back, and it was good to see him. And he played outstanding, graded great, and just very, very consistent and clean football game from him.
Dabo, I think there were a few fumbles, or you got most of them back, but just balling it up on the ground Saturday. Is that a concern, an issue, or something you guys have talked about?
Oh, no, it's definitely a concern. I mean, ball security is number one way to get beat, you know, for sure. And we had a lot of balls on the ground, but we were very fortunate to only lose one. So yeah, we you know, teach from it, teach the fundamentals. You know, the one with Mikey, you know, the classic BIJ, ball in jeopardy, you know, trying to swim a guy, balls out here away from your body, you know, that's ball in jeopardy, you know, and so just fundamentals, just fundamental stuff. But we got to do a better job for sure in that area. You know, played 2 games, and we won the margin in the first game and got beat. They had one more big play than us. And in this game, we lost the margin and won, but you know, the margin for error was a lot was bigger for us, so we were able to overcome that. So it's not something we want to make a habit of. We want to win that turnover margin every single week, for sure. So that's an area we got to definitely improve.
Yeah, but Tony said yesterday that he's changed a couple of things with Galloway's strike technique as a blocker, and kind of wants to see him hand placement, that kind of stuff. Just what's your assessment been of the progress Braden has made as a blocker?
Yeah, he's getting better. You know, the biggest thing I love about Braden is he's very willing. You know, he's a very willing guy. He's a tough kid. And, you know, he didn't show up here. That wasn't a natural thing for him, you know, coming in here. You know, he was a basketball player and more of a wideout. I'm proud of him. You know, it's very important to him. He's very coachable. He cares. He really wants to do it. He knows that's what he has to put on tape to really reach his potential. Because he's definitely a guy that can play at the next level, but he's got to continue to develop there, and he has, and will continue to do more. So he's still growing into all that stuff, but really, really proud of just, again, his attitude, his effort, his willingness, and his coachability.
What's your evaluation of your offensive line depth, I guess, 6 through 9 right now, from what you've seen?
You know, like I said, I hate we lost John early, but at least it was in camp, and we had a lot of time in camp to get, you know, the other guys a ton of work. Taquan, same thing. Taquan would have really coming in here. He would have really, you know, been a guy to help us, but I think he made, you know, one day, and he was out. So, you know, Dietrich is a big blow, because I think he was on his way to really becoming a very consistent contributor for us, and a definite big time depth guy. So, you know, that's a loss. We're gonna get Trotter back, so we are getting him, even though he's gonna have he'll be clubbed up for a little while. You know, on his right hand there, but he's Trotter's a very functional player, and that's how he got here. You know, just a very fundamentally, technically sound guy, tough, strong, understands the game, and so that's a positive. But I think Dietrich was one of those guys that we had a lot of high hopes for. But as far as our backup guys, I thought Mitchell Mays played really, really well this past week in his first significant time. He did a really nice job. He's had a really good camp. The arrow's up by his name. T.O. has made a lot of progress. T.O. can really do it. He's just still, developing consistency in his game, but I feel good about him. We really like Trent Howard. He's still developing physically. He's, got 4 years left, and a guy that I think is going to be a very good player, understands the game. He went in and did a nice job snapping the ball for us and just communicating and directing the traffic. So he's a savvy, high football IQ guy. And then Rayburn. Rayburn he's a little bit of a putty guy right now, playing center, playing guard, playing tackle. He's a big athlete, and so he brings some really good things to the group. So just good to get those guys. We got Rayburn in there early. We got T.O. in there early. We got Mitchell in there pretty early, and I think that was good for them, to get some really good, meaningful work, and got in there with the ones. But we're still developing there. But we're a lot better than we were this time last year. I can tell you that. And we're, from a depth standpoint, we are a lot better. We're getting worse though. We're losing Dietrich, that's for sure. But between Trotter and T.O. and Mays and Howard and Rayburn, I think we got a good little group coming on right there.
Johnson definitely out for the year.
Take one?
Yes.
Yeah. I'd be surprised. Maybe postseason. Be maybe best case scenario.
Are there any option principles left in the offense Georgia Tech runs now, or is it just completely different?
Oh no. There's a lot of option principles for our defense against these guys. Very similar to last week, to be honest with you. They had a lot of option principles to what they do, and same thing with Georgia Tech. I mean, they'll definitely challenge you. They're not from a traditional option stance, but from how they want to get the ball on the perimeter, and get outside of you, formation you, zone read, the RPO stuff. I mean, it's a lot of similar stuff. Backside, your D-tackle, when they run that stretch, your backside tackles, not getting cut down and dividing the defense in half. I mean, there's a lot of things that carry over, but not like the triple option. But a lot of these spread teams, there's option principles built into it. Even us, with how you have to defend us or defend the opponent.
Do we have anything from anybody on Zoom?
Hey Gallo, this is Anna with Clemson 24/7. I think those three guys you mentioned have right guard experience. Who would be the main candidates right now to back up Putnam?
Well, Trotter's back, so he would be the one of the main guys. Rayburn, so it's the same guys. T.O., Rayburn, Trotter can all play guard. Either one, those guys are all cross trained. We don't really have anybody that just has a home. So Putnam's pretty much just played right guard in our first group, but those guys can all move. So, but that'd be the guys. It'd be Rayburn, T.O., Trotter, Trent Howard. Those four guys would. Tucker, I forgot about Tucker. Tucker's making a little bit of improvement as well. So that whole group still young, but coming along. Bunch of redshirt freshmen.
Anything else for Coach? All right, thank you, Coach.
All right.